ever watched a film and in the scene they tilt the camera like this and wonder, why do they do that? This has a lot to do with camera angles. Now at this point we all know what camera angles are, and you probably use them in one way, shape, or form. But did you know that the camera angles that you use directly affect the way that the audience perceives the story? The truth is that every camera angle has a special place in the visual language of cinema, and it definitely matters which one you choose, so I thought we could talk about all of that today. Hey, what's happening everyone? My name is Ryan, and today we're talking about camera angles, why they're important, the different angles you can use, and how you could use them to enhance your next film. Let's get into it. Now, we're definitely gonna get into all the different camera angles that you could use to enhance the stories in your films, but if you're anything like me and you want to know why these camera angles can impact the way the audience perceives the story, then stick around because we're gonna get into that next. Here are 3 of the most common reasons that I'm thinking through when picking a camera angle for any particular scene. Number 1 is the impact that it can have on the viewer's perspective of the story. Camera angles can significantly affect how the audience perceives the scene or the character. By choosing the right camera angle, filmmakers can take the audience down a journey. You can imply that something is specifically happening, whether it's further enhancing the emotion or tension between characters, or just simply giving us a unique perspective of where this character is within the film. And the second reason is to just have a variety of visuals. This is actually something that we talk about a lot in the YouTube world as well. Using a variety of camera angles adds visual interest to the film or video that you're trying to create. This is a great way to keep the viewer's attention and enhance the overall experience. This can also help to keep the story just a little bit more dynamic. And the third reason I'm usually thinking through, and probably one of the most important reasons in my opinion, is for the sake of visual storytelling. Just like composition and framing and color, or even camera movement, camera angles are also a form of nonverbal communication. They can convey information, relationships, and subtext, and it can do all of that without a single word of dialogue. For example, a close-up on a character's face can reveal their emotions, completely eliminating the need for them to express what they are feeling in words. But now that we know why camera angles are important, let's talk about the different camera angles that you could use and how they can impact the stories within your films. Number 1, the low angle. Now, this is actually something that I've also talked about in another one of my videos about composition and framing. I'll leave a link to that video in the description below if you're interested in learning more. But essentially, the low angle is a great way to make our characters feel important, dominant, and powerful. It can also introduce a sense of tension depending on the context and your actor's performance within the scene. And often working in tandem with the low angle is the high angle. This can be used in aerial shots to establish the location of the scene, but most commonly the high angle is used to look down on the character. This will make our character appear to be vulnerable and weak, and can also convey that our character is feeling absolutely powerless in their current situation. And number 3 is the overhead shot, or even commonly called the bird's eye shot. This is when the camera is looking down at the subject or point of interest and can provide a unique perspective on the scene. Now, I like to use this camera angle as more of a POV. I like it because it's showing the view of the perspective of another character so that we can view the events as they are, which is actually one of the reasons why a lot of YouTubers like to use this for things like unboxing or gear reviews. Number 5 is the eye level shot. Now, this is the most natural and common angle that you could use for your film, because this shot is filmed at the same height as the character's eyes. But even more interesting, if coupled with a 35mm or a 50mm, like we talked about in our focal length basics video, this combo can provide the audience with a very natural view of the scene, which can totally make it feel like we're in the scene with our characters. Number 6, the over the shoulder shot. Now, this is a technique that is commonly used when 2 characters are speaking to each other. This is when you would place the camera behind one character's shoulder, showing the view of the other character. It helps to establish spatial relationships and allows the audience to see both characters as they speak to each other. Now, you could totally switch the camera angle to see the different perspectives of each character as each one is speaking to the other. However, it's really important to follow what's called the 180-degree rule, or the 180 rule. Now, this is probably a topic for another video, but essentially this just ensures that when 2 characters are talking to each other and you want to switch perspectives between each character as they converse, you would need to keep the camera on one side of the characters or on one side of this line when changing the perspectives or camera angle for each character. Following this rule will make it a whole lot easier for your viewers to follow the conversation, and it'll add a whole lot more dynamic to the scene versus just having a static shot with both characters in the scene. And coming in at number 7 is the knee shot. The knee shot. Anyway, this shot is framed at the character's knee because it can be a great way to reveal a weapon or an item that this character might be wielding, while at the same time showing the reaction of our second character. And number 8 is the ground level shot. Now, I absolutely love this one because it's a really creative way to show where your characters are going or where they're coming from. Now, this is one that you probably saw me do very early on in the intro of this video. As a matter of fact, a lot of the shots that I did for that intro were some of the different camera angles that we had talked about today. So definitely go back and watch that intro if you'd like to see a combination of these working together. The ground level shot is typically shot at ground level, but can also go below it. This technique can have many different effects just depending on the context and the actor's performance. This is also a great angle for creating a sense of mystery. If you're using it to introduce a character by showing where they are headed but not showing their face just yet, it can create a sense of mystery. This can have a great effect on the audience if used in this way. Now, there are so many other camera angles that we could talk about, but they just couldn't fit them in this video, as well as different combinations of the different camera angles that you could use in tandem, kind of like I did in the intro of this video. Camera angles are a powerful way to enhance the stories visually, but the truth is that there are many other elements within the visual language of cinema. So I've created a whole playlist dedicated to visual storytelling. I'll leave a link in the description below if you'd like to learn more. Now, all of these camera angles can and will enhance the stories within your films if you plan them out and use them to your advantage. But in the end, it really all comes down to you. Your unique vision for the world you are creating for the story within your film, and each camera angle you choose will affect the way your audience perceives the story. So I just want to encourage you to try some of these angles out for yourself, practice them often, and start applying them to your films, because I guarantee that if you can get these down and learn to use them intentionally, this will help your stories stand out from all the rest. Well, that's gonna do it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. If you like this video or you learned something, please click the like button down below. Consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, friends.